Hey everyone, just want to let you know I moved in. I'm not completely settled into the new place quite yet, but I figured for first podcast I would do a review of Matrix Resurrections. Hopefully it's not as bad as I hear it is. I'm going to keep an open mind, but here's the review. What the fuck did I just watch? So, back in 1999, when the original Matrix aired in theaters, it blew people's minds. It made people question their possible existence, and it was overall a very good film. It ended very well, in my opinion. No need for a sequel, no setup for a sequel. It was, hey, here's some things to think about, here's some possibilities, here's what might happen in the future. Very simple, and I thought it was very good. Glad it ended the way it did. Didn't think it needed anything further. They later announced, Reloaded and Revolution, to make it a trilogy, which I was thinking, okay, that might be okay. Reloaded was alright. I mean, they changed some things. They made Agent Smith more of the villain. Well, not more of a villain. They made him a more powerful villain to make it seem like the program had more free will than before. And that was pretty neat an idea. Later, it was revealed that the one that Neo was a source code to reset the Matrix so that when the machines wiped out humanity, there would be some people left to start over again, and blah, blah, blah. Neo chose not to, and essentially, quote-unquote, doomed the entire world. And in Revolutions, it was shown that the machines were having trouble with Agent Smith and his free will, and they needed Neo just as much as humanity needed Neo, so they worked out a deal, and peace was brokered when Neo and Smith were killed. And that should have been the end of it right then and there. But in the meantime, they also had a bunch of video games. I did what was it? I forget what it was called, actually. It's the one where you played as Niobi or Ghost and pretty much did the Matrix Reloaded storyline with some missions telling this and that here and there, what happened in some certain spots. And it was alright. It was a basic game, and it had its bugs, it had its issues, but all games do. Excuse me real quick. But also in the process, they made a series of short films called The Animatrix, where it showed what happened to the Osiris, that they were able to get the message about the Sentinels going to Zion to wipe out humanity from outside the Matrix. And it also showed how the war between humanity and machines started, and it was good. It was very good. It was very interesting and a very possible and surreal future. I also had a bunch of different things, like one of the people who escaped and how he escaped, and one other one that I remember is where it was a bug in the Matrix that some kids found, and just kind of how the Matrix dealt with bugs in the system. And of course, like I said, it should have ended there. There was no need to do anything else from that point on. And then I heard about Matrix Resurrections. I think that was 2 years ago or something like that. And I was just thinking, was anyone asking for another Matrix film. Like, seriously, was anyone going, oh my god, we need another Matrix, we need another Matrix, my life is not complete without another Matrix? I don't know, but I wasn't, like, thrilled to hear about it. And then I saw some trailers and some previews, like, oh, this could be interesting. And so, obviously, I just got off watching it, so it is fresh in my head about what happened, and honestly, my disappointment in it. According to Bing, yes, I use Bing, not Google all the time. It was directed by Lana Wachowski, and just for context, they used to be the Wachowski brothers. They had sex change. I think in between filming of Revolutions, the first sibling had the change, and I didn't know that the other sibling had a sex change until just finishing this movie, with the other sibling being an executive producer on the film. So good for them. I'm sure they're happy, actually, but good for them. But yeah, the Wachowski siblings returned and made this movie, and honestly, there are many questions, but not like dire questions. Most of them do get answered, and a lot of them are just like, wait, what's going on? So basically, it starts out almost exactly like the original Matrix. They really pulled on the nostalgia strings on that one. Does the same like phone call, it does Matrix code, and someone gets tracked, and later is revealed to be Trinity. The agent showed up, and the cops are like, we got her, we can handle one little girl. Oh no, Detective Yemen is already dead, blah. Yeah. It's quickly shown that it's a recording, and someone's looking through the old code to find someone. And a new agent, a black agent, and for context, the agents in the original trilogy were 3 white men, one of them being Hugo Weaving, best Agent Smith ever. And it's not off guard, but he does seem different. We find out that he is the digital reincarnation of Morpheus, and has questions about his own existence, being code and all that. So, yeah, there's that. He escapes with the captain of the new ship, and my questions from there just start, because it's like, we already have an agent with free will, despite the fact that we then find out he's a program within a program. And then it's later explained that he's the code merger of Morpheus and Agent Smith, created by Neo to be a brand new character in a video game. And it's the amount of loopholes this goes through. But back to where new Morpheus gets out, we go to Thomas Anderson, aka Neo, who is a video game programmer, and he made a trilogy of video games, 3 video games, and that's the Matrix trilogy movies. So, yeah, they say that the Matrix was a video game, and Neo was its top creator, its main character, aka Neo, was heavily based off of Thomas Anderson, and he's working on a new game. But he's also having psychotic breakdowns and can't discern fantasy from reality. It's trying to be meta in the beginning, and we later find out what's really going on. But it's so nauseating and headache-inducing bad. Like, it tries to be self-aware. At one point, they even say Warner Brothers is going to make a sequel to the trilogy with or without us. And it's just like, oh my god, did you guys really just do that? Because Warner Brothers is the one that is the studio that this came from, including the original trilogy. And they go through this montage of Neo going to a therapist, taking the blue pills to make his mind more controllable in the new Matrix. And these people are talking about the Matrix. They're saying the same thing over and over again. They're trying to make ideas for Matrix 4. And again, they're trying to be so meta or self-aware. One person pretty much says everyone just watches reboots or remakes, and that's how they get hooked. And it's just like, I get they're trying to be funny, because that's exactly what they're doing right now. But at the same time, it's just like, it's so cringy. It's so bad. And even Keanu Reeves, I mean, God bless Keanu Reeves for coming back and doing what he could. But he looked bored and just like he didn't want to be there almost. Including Carrie Ann Moss, who plays Trinity, who, if you remember, also died in the Revolutions, and yet they were able to bring her back, and that again is explained later. Anyway, Agent Smith was also brought back for some reason, despite the fact that his code was deleted by the Matrix and Neo in Revolutions. And he is Neo's partner in the video game industry, making the video games. And I think within the first 20 or so minutes, they reveal that his partner is Agent Smith, kind of in a heavy-handed way, where it's just like way too early. And they kind of they really changed his character from like the Hugo Weaving, very serious Mr. Anderson to hello, Mr. Anderson, kind of, not exactly like that, but it doesn't have the same menacing tone to it. They seem to made him a little more, not comical, but less caring, I guess, is the best way I can describe it. Because they keep giving him different suits. They keep giving him these ridiculous sunglasses. And that's just like, why? Like hipster glasses almost. Sorry for the snuffles. I'm just... So they reenact a shootout. No, I can't say they reenact, but when Morpheus is trying to pull Neo out, they do it in his office, and they kind of start doing the same nostalgia bait. Nostalgia bait where Neo has to hopefully sneak out, and he ends up in a restroom, and the new Morpheus, again, keep in mind the new Morpheus is a coded program person now. He's not an actual person. I don't know what happened with Lawrence Fishburne not showing up, or is actually scratch no. They explained that his character died. So, yeah, Lawrence Fishburne's Morpheus is dead in the series. I don't know if they couldn't get him back or what, but I didn't like this new Morpheus. He was way over the top. So he got out of the video game coding and was recoded into the new Matrix. And he was trying really hard to convince Thomas Anderson to take the red pill, and it didn't work, and they get ambushed, and everyone's trying to take out Morpheus and save Neo, and then Smith goes, "Mr. Anderson!" and picks up a gun and tries killing Neo. And I'm not kidding. He literally does a yell of Mr. Anderson and tries to kill him within like the first 20 minutes. And I think they should have waited for that reveal to be later. But I'm not the one who wrote the movie, so it is what it is. So, with that failed attempt, Smith tries to kill Neo, and we find ourselves snapped to the therapist office that Neo goes to now. That keeps him pacified, I guess is the best term. He is then picked up by the captain who freed Morpheus, and they're transported now through doors and mirrors. I guess doors are portals throughout the Matrix, while mirrors take people in and out of the Matrix, which is weird. But I guess they can't use landlines anymore. And for you kids who don't know what a landline is, that would be a phone connected to the wall that had wires. Yeah. Before cell phones. Then we're introduced to a new thing called swarm mode, where bots basically swarm whatever the target is. It's an interesting concept, and I got really confused the first time, because if you remember the first Matrix, agents could take over any person connected to the Matrix at any time, and if the agent was destroyed or killed, the person that they had taken over had been killed as well, thus ending their life in the pods. And yeah, so after the swarm mode and Neo is freed from the pod that he was put back into, we see it's just him and Trinity, and Neo is the only one saved from this new place. And they do the flyover of the machine city with all the pods still there. And if you don't remember, the pods were the only ways for machines to have energy via harvesting from humans, thus the Matrix. So, quick recap of what the Matrix is. It's a computer simulation where humans are used to become batteries, basically, for machines. I would recommend to go see the first Matrix with my full heart, because it is such a great movie, if you haven't already. But yeah, it kind of looked like the entire point of the war didn't succeed or was pointless, because it's the same thing going on. Despite the fact that Neo is being rescued by robots as well. So they do the same thing with basically reenacting when Neo got out of the Matrix the first time, with the Nebuchadnezzar I mean, there's a lot of mirrored scenes from this Matrix and the first Matrix, and it's just, I know that's what a lot of studios do these days, but it does get old quick. It's just like, come up with some new shit, people. So when they go back in to find Trinity, because Neo's like, I'm not going to do anything unless we get Trinity back, Agent Smith makes his appearance again and says that the therapist is the new architect and he's not going to be chained by this new architect anymore, so he's got to kill Neo in order to be free. And they go for like the Merovingian makes a comeback. Yeah, he makes a comeback, and I had no idea who the fuck he was, because it was a literal, oh, I brought some old friends, and these homeless looking people showed up, and it's like, who the fuck is this? And he starts speaking French about what happened before. It's like, oh, cool, awesome, this was pointless. So they do the we got superpowers battle, and we find out Neo has a new ability, and it's force pushing. Yes, he can literally now make force fields. Think Matrix Reloaded, the battle in the Chatso, I forget what, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Basically, right after they get the keymaker, where Neo stops the bullets. That's basically what it is. He stops and pushes bullets, stains now. And that's basically the only power he uses from this point on, besides his strength. It's just like, it's so dumb. I did forget to mention, they go to the new city. It's not Zion anymore because that was destroyed. It's Io. They have an artificial sky, a lot more people, and yeah. Oh, Niobi is alive. She's now in charge of everything. She's kind of back to being a bitch. But for good reasons, I guess. They're trying to keep the peace and trying to make sure that humanity continues to live on. So I get her point of view, but I also get the other people's point of view. But at the same time, there's no real war anymore. They even explained that after the peace was made, the machines went to war with themselves. But they never really explained why. Well, sorry. They do. It was a shortage of power. But they never explained, like, how some machines got independence, how some machines got free will, why some stayed. It said in Revolutions that some programs had glitched and had their own free will, like I forget what his name was, the Indian couple from the subway station. Like, they had their own free will and stuff like that, but they never really said that a lot of programs and machines had their own free will. So it just seemed out of nowhere that the machines would go to war with themselves like that. So yeah, there's that. So after Neo's and Smith's fight of power, Neo gets to Trinity, who doesn't remember everything. She keeps having dreams, but she's also being blue-pilled. That's when the new villain, Neil Patrick Harris, his therapist, and by the way, I gotta say, the best part of the film was Neil Patrick Harris and his villain role. Right up until the end, like the very end. Like, I actually like this guy. Like, I could have seen him being a very good villain if they were to do more. but they really ruined him at the end. I was like, oh, never mind. So basically, it's a brand new Matrix made more or less exclusively for Neo and Trinity, because of the energy they produce when they're nearby each other. So he tried to erase the memory, saying it was just dreams, and Neo made video games off them. And Trinity is married, has kids, and they both take the blue pills and all that. And Neo can't beat Neil Patrick Harris, no matter how hard he tries. Neil Patrick Harris can rewind time, slow time down, and stuff like that. So, yeah, like I said, it could have been a very interesting villain concept if they stuck with it. So all the swarm mode is done by like AI bots, like artificial intelligence, that just there to fill the new Matrix for Neo and Trinity. And Neil Patrick's the therapist gives Neo a choice to either return because the Matrix is now losing power without Neo connected anymore. So he either needs to return or risk all of the Matrix again. And of course, there's a plan to save Trinity, and Neo's going to be a distraction, but the choice of freeing Trinity has to be made by herself. And of course, she makes the choice to be free. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but they could have made it a lot less obvious that that's what they were going to do. So even Smith and the therapist have a short fight. Not as interesting. The big climactic battle isn't very interesting either. Like, there's no real interest there's no real interesting points or tension or oh wow moments in this movie except for Neil Patrick Harris's character. Like, that was the only thing I really enjoyed about this entire movie. So at the end, it's shown that Trinity now also has powers of the One. And I'm going to assume it's because it's a brand new Matrix and she had source code in her, which confuses me, but because that was the point of the One. Only one person had this source code in them. But again, it's possible it's a new Matrix, it's something brand new, so whatever. Then at the end, where Trinity awakens her One abilities, they go back to Neil Patrick Harris to basically say we're changing the world, but they also, Trinity also spin kicks his jaw off, snaps, he's healed. No, like, I'm serious. She goes, and he's instantly healed. She then slices his throat off, and he quote unquote dies. And Neo does a snarky one-liner, and she goes, and he's back to life again. And he's just like, "What are you doing?" So yeah, it's just, and they do the original Matrix ending with a hard rock song with the two ones. I don't know what the new terms are going to be. With Neo and Trinity flying off. And they have a post-credit scene. Again, they're trying to be funny. It's not. So yeah, my honest opinion is this movie was as bad as I heard. It's so slow. The action scenes have no tension in them, no real build up. Even the final swarm mode, where basically the entire bot population tries to get the people, the humans jacked in, to confront the therapist. There is no tension. Like, not one moment was like, oh no. I mean, it's just, this was worse than Revolutions, if that makes sense. Like I said, I tried to keep an open mind, but when they pandered with nostalgia, bad timing for comedy, and then the whole game company, I was just like, I'm done. I can't. I just, oh. I mean, this is why remakes and reboots, soft reboots or hard reboots, they're just not, it's not the same as it was in 1999. Like, this was not a film that made me go, am I real? Should I start questioning everything I know? Will the computers take over? I mean, I'm very, very disappointed in this whole thing. And like I said, the actors, especially Keanu Reeves, a lot of them just seemed like they weren't interested, like they weren't invested. I'm glad Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss came back to pick up the roles again. But it's just, I didn't ask for a new Matrix movie. I personally haven't heard anyone asking for a new Matrix movie. I don't know if they're going to attempt to do another trilogy. I don't know what the point would be. I don't know what the point of this movie was, to be honest. I mean, it's not like it was needed. It just felt like this was a pet project they wanted to do. And yeah, I was just very disappointed, very tiring. I don't even know how to end this, to be honest. I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 10. It was just so boring. Story wise, it made some sense, but overall, it just felt like another generic movie. Just another generic. So HBO's got my $15 for this. Congratulations, HBO. Wachowski siblings, you really step up the writing, step up their directing, and way to ruin a great villain. So yeah, with that, I'm going to leave it. Hopefully I'll start getting back into more podcasts. I do have more ideas I want to do, more rants I want to do, more bull. So we'll see. Hopefully I'll start getting back into this. I'll definitely do more reviews later on. So thank you for listening. Avoid this movie. Just avoid it. Not worth it. Original Matrix, definitely worth it. This one, no. So thank you guys for listening, and I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.